speaker and I don't know how to introduce this other than saying, hi, it's me. So I hope you can stay present for me for a few more minutes, and thank you so much for that there. My name is Hannah-Jayne and I'm a mental health campaigner. I just wanted to share with you my story. I'm not a parent and I'm not a professional, but I would want to talk to you from a child perspective. As if maybe you do not know me standing up here confidently telling everyone to get off stage and being bossy. I actually have a severe anxiety disorder, and I hope I can share with you my story. I'm going to run through the childhood experience, as it was from childhood and it isn't social, obviously, that's what I love to do. And then I'm going to talk about the parental experience, where I interviewed my mother, who would have done anything to come to a lecture here today. So I thank you so much for coming, because you don't know how much this wasn't around 20 years ago, and how wonderful it is to see people that actually want to make a difference to children's lives. Because I was just described as the naughty child. I would then like to talk about the professional experience, what worked, what didn't work, and the hopeful future experience, just to show you that you are not your label. And if you have a child that you're worried about, you don't really need to worry so much. It's just consistency and persistence. That's what I believe. Okay. Checking the time because I talk a lot. So my parents, let's talk about the childhood experience. My parents found difference in my social abilities at 2 years old, and at 4 years old they decided to find an answer. I have a sister who's 3 years my senior. She's a wonderful angel. She was perfect Peter and I was horrid Henry, if you know what that means. And so they were able to judge how a child develops by through my sister's development, but also my mother worked with children, so that's very helpful to show that the difference that I was presenting. So they started searching at 4 years old. Unfortunately, we didn't get a diagnosis until I was 11 years old, and I was medicated from 11 to 18 on the highest dose of antidepressants to deal with my severe anxiety disorder. At 18 years old, I realised I didn't know who I was, and I came off that, and I've been meds-free since. I do believe in the non-medical model, but I also believe that if it works for you, have no shame in it, and maybe use it as a short-term thing. So what were my triggers? It changed a lot, but if I said everything, maybe that would help you understand how severe it got. There was loud noises, big places, teenagers, new places, weather, school, smells, food touching food. My mother made me a packed sandwich once for lunch. It was ham and cheese. She cut the cheese with the knife that she cut the tomatoes with for my sister. The tomatoes, I don't like that. And it was just, honestly, just the juice. There was nothing else in the sandwich, but I threw up. And I had to go to the toilets and throw up because she used the wrong knife. How did I feel? Exhausted, sick physically. So if I was having a panic, because it was everything, the weather, I had a real bad problem with the weather, so there were lots of clouds in the sky. I would walk down the road and I'd just have to swallow my sick. I was weak and tired. Because it really does drain every emotional brain in your body. And I also felt to blame, and I'd like you to think about that as a child perspective. I don't think people think that children know the impact of a social situation and what they're doing, but I really did understand the pain that I was causing my family, and I hold that today too. How did I act? Angry, misunderstood. How did I act? Angry, misunderstood. Again, physically sick, so very tired and very weak. I was reclusive, and at the ages of 9 to 10, when it was the worst, I didn't really leave my house. I got taken out of school. I was home tutored in the end, as a last resort, and I was told I would never really leave my parental care. So what did I do to cope? I made dents, these beautiful dents from the sofa cushions and my duvets. Plans and workbooks. My mother did social stories. Who knows of social stories? Yeah, okay. She didn't know what they were, but she made them out of just understanding that a bit of routine really helped me. Airing cupboard. I used to sit in the airing cupboard, and so if I was having a wobble, my dad would be like, if that woman is in that airing cupboard one more time, I swear to God. So it was warm, and it smelled of my mother's clothing, and it took away the light, and it took away a lot of the sounds. So it made it very easy for me to stay in a calmer place. If I was scared about something, my mother would turn to education education because I'm a bit of a geek and I always have been and I always will be, and I like to learn about things that worry me. It takes away an element of concern. So I had a problem with the weather, as I said, so she dragged me to the library and we learned all about the clouds. And I wish I could tell you all about them now, but back then I could tell you every single name of every single cloud. And we turned it into a game. I'm scared today. I wasn't able to verbalise that, but my mother was my verbaliser for me. And she said, which one is this? And which one is this? Instead of saying, don't be scared, she made it into a positive thing. Tasks were also really, really good to keep me engaged as well. So the parental experience was next. So this is when I interviewed my mother. How did my parents feel? She said in the beginning, anxiety breeds anxiety. So she was very anxious about my well-being. Who are parents here? Could you raise your hands? Wow. So you know what tiredness feels like, and then times that by 20. She didn't have a clue what was going on, and I didn't have my first night's sleep until I was 10 years old. So she was tired. She was hopeless with professional advice because they were just telling her, I don't know what to do. She was very shocked. This was 24 years ago, and we really have come a long way in the profession, so I'm really happy, and this is why I'm so grateful to be a part of this now. She was told she was the angry child, she was told it was her fault, and she was told I just needed to behave more. So she was determined not to feel lost, and she said she found out she was a lot stronger than she was, so that was the positive that came from it. And you have a father as well, obviously, and they are together. He was the provider. He was able to go to work so that my mother could take off work and be able to be a full-time support. I don't understand how lucky that situation is, so I'm very grateful for that. I asked her, what did you notice first that was different in your child? And she said there was a language and emotional barrier and difficulty in social situations. There were fears and anxieties, for example, going to parties, which were a lot stronger than everyone else, and they were above normal. And that was in relation to my sister, really. And what was the best support emotionally, I asked her. And she said, watching anyone connect with you. Her friends that were able to get onto my level. Her husband, and Nanny Smith, my nan, for a time out. She really got me too, but it was a very, very rare situation. So if you're going through something, hold on to your social circles too, and make sure you give time for yourself as well. And what was the best support professionally? This is Dr. Lucy. She's a child and adolescent psychologist, and I'd say that she saved my life. She listened, she worked out the role we had, she was honest, and she worked out with the adult and the child. She realised that I wouldn't speak a lot at the time, and she realised my love for writing, so she used the whiteboard to explain the situations going on. So we're constantly adapting to what is good for every different child, because this is my personal experience. It may be completely different for someone else. Okay, here's where I have to try not to blunt. But I said to her, if you could say one thing to your younger self, what would it be? And she said, you don't need to worry so much. She's such an intelligent girl with a beautiful mind that she's going to achieve things beyond your imagination. You just have to keep going. So the professional experience. What was my diagnosis? So I had delays in developmentality and I had a comorbid severe anxiety disorder. What worked? The meds on the short term, as I suggested, and also talk therapy, so CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, and also psychotherapy as well. And I'm sure lots of people know that, but if you ever want to talk about more things, just come and see me at the end. What didn't work? Absolutely everything else. As I said, we were looking at something from 4 to 11, and the understanding really wasn't there. So let's see a few things that I did. I had electronic currents going through my big toe. That didn't seem to work. Just made it really funny on the car journey home. I had some herbal remedies. They didn't work. I had forceful methods. You will go to school. I was dragged. I was pulled into school. It made it a lot more distressing for me. And the head teacher didn't like it when I kicked her back. Diets, celiac and gluten-free, that didn't work for me either. I was just tested for dyslexia, and I wore some really cool blue lens glasses. So although I really like what I look like, it wasn't really doing so well any other way. I would say at this point in professional experience to really be wary of an overdiagnosis. Anxiety is incredibly normal. We have it now, and we have it as children. And if you can normalise as much behaviour as you can, I would really recommend that you do that as well. I love the awareness that we've got, I really do. But I am also concerned that everyone thinks it's their problem. And they go, well, don't worry, she's got anxiety. You can do whatever you want to do. Just use the label and move on. Okay, it says don't be scared of the meds, but do not be wholly dependent. I was on Suboxone, and then it hit the press that we weren't allowed to use that anymore, so I moved to sertraline. I did come off at 18 and I did go cold turkey, and please don't ever do that. Thank you. The hopeful future experience is my last one, and this really isn't a brag. But like I said, I do this public speaking, I do this campaigning, and I do this writing all in my spare time to make sure people understand that they're not their label, and to understand that if you're having a hard time, there is a future. And I'm just going to go through a few things that I was told as a child, and that there really was not much hope for me at all, actually. And so show you the contrast of what I've actually managed to do. I'm 28 now, by the way, so it's a fair few years ago. I was asked whether you were you without anxiety, and although I don't want to paint it with rose-tinted glasses, I'd probably much prefer my life if I didn't have a severe anxiety disorder. I think I was robbed of a carefree childhood. I would say that I've become so much more empathetic, so much more understanding. And I like to think I'm a good friend because of it too. I'm also a fighter. I was taken out of education, I didn't do my stats, and I was integrated part-time into secondary school. I now have a first-class degree, and I have a certificate hanging above my bed. I was scared of new places. I've travelled all over the world. And my most recent adventure, I backpacked around India for 3 months. I was scared of being outside in adverse conditions and adverse weather conditions. And when I was 21 years old, I climbed Kilimanjaro with a bunch of strangers. And a few years ago, I walked and climbed around the Himalayas in India. I was scared of people. And I like to think that you wonderful bunch are very friendly and very warm. I have a great support network. And also, if you're thinking, I know this girl, my last stupid adventure was to go on first dates last year. I had hair to do, a wee fringe, and I dated Justin, and I openly spoke about my anxiety, and that clip's been seen 3.5 million times on the Facebook channel, on the Channel 4 Facebook website. I then opened up my Instagram account, and I campaign on Instagram, so if you wish to follow Hannah-Jayne, Jayne _1990, you'll see me be an idiot 90% of the time. I was scared of getting hurt, and I'm petrified of others getting hurt, and I still am. I'm now a senior grade Taekwondo martial artist. It is still very tough, and I'm not going to be rose-tinted glasses, of course. It is a low point every now and then. But there is so much hope, and I don't think anyone at any one point thought I would be anywhere near to where I am now. Not even my biggest fans, which were my family. And if I could give one piece of advice, it would be just to keep going, and to fight, and to embrace the shit. Because it creates the real happiness, and I know I have a very beautiful life. If you don't mind, I'd like to end on a quote that I love. It's by Elizabeth Gilbert, and during some tougher times, I just like to remind myself of it, and I have it printed on my wall. Happiness is the consequence of personal effort. You fight for it, strive for it, insist upon it, and sometimes even travel around the world looking for it. You have to participate relentlessly in the manifestations of your own blessings. But once you have achieved a state of happiness, you must never become lax about maintaining it. You must make a mighty effort to keep swimming upward into that happiness forever, to stay afloat on top of it. It's my absolute pleasure to speak to you today, and every tiny thing that you do will impact them. You just have to keep going, because I can't thank people now that I wish I could thank, because I was a child and I had very minimal emotional intelligence. Everything that you do even just showing a general amount of care or interest could save someone's life in the future. Thank you so much for being here. Does anyone have any questions? I can go personal if you like. Fred was hotter in your life.
I don't have a question, I just say that was incredible. So thank you.
Thank you. Don't make me cry there.
Have you got any tips on YouTube? Is you talking?
No. I'm looking into that one.
You'd be a great role model for some of the children we see to show them your story.
Thank you.
It'd be really good to come up with something like that.
My most recent birthday present was a vlogging camera. I intend to do this. It's a career that I'm trying to chase. I do public speaking. I'm going to schools. I'm actually working within prisons at the minute to talk with the men with mental health there. And I write, and I do Instagram. And I look forward to taking over the world step by step. YouTube will be next.
I just want to double both of those up. Thank you. That was just wow. What an end to the afternoon today. And also, I work a lot with children and young people with autism and ADHD and additional needs. And that whole speech will be so inspiring for them who can't see the future, who can't see out of that rut that they're in. And what you said was worth everything.
Come and talk to me. I'm right here.
Can you just tell me your Instagram name?
It's in the book.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Everything.
Yes, the name is Hannah, and then Jayne, and then underscore, and then my year 1990.
Thank you.
Anything else? Fine.
Hi, I've got a question. I come across a lot of parents who are very worried often about the fact that their child, for whatever reason, might not be able to follow the expected route through childhood and through education. So I found it very inspirational to hear your story. So do you have any advice for those parents for how they can break free of the sort of the peer pressure that they get from other families and other adults in terms of how they are expected to bring up their child? I suppose it's what's best for them.
Thank you. Gosh, it must be so painful. I'm not a mother, and I don't really want. It's scary to think that that's how people must feel. In order to have the most successful child, my mother just needed my happiness. And whatever route that came from, she would support it. And if you've got a route in your head of how your child should be, A-star student, etc., the pressure can often deter them off of this. And no one's checked my GCSEs, and I really want them to because I got an A-star in drama and she predicted me a D. But it really doesn't matter, and you'll find a way, and there's not a time scale for anyone. People just need to open up a little more that normal is very bloody boring, and there's no path for everyone, otherwise we'd all be the same. And if they could just picture them in the child's shoes, maybe, because I think we've all had troubles, no matter where we come from or what we do. It could be internal or external. And I think as long as finding their own course, not the system, sorry. Get rid of the system doesn't work for the majority, hence why we're all here. Respect the system, but find out what makes people tick. So, the Battle of Hastings, I remember the year because my mother was pretending to be on a whole horse, running around our living room, 1066, right? So she was like this. And that's how I learned. If someone said the Battle of Hastings, here's a pie chart, I wouldn't have learned. It's all about the way that, and that's with very able, I don't like saying that, I'm completely able, but that can use the academic route, that works for them too. We're not all going to learn this. Sometimes we all have to be horses, like jumping around like lunatics, I don't know. But you will know use your gut. I wish my mother was here, she's very shy, she's not like me at all. I hope that helps. Maybe. Anything else? I talked too much. respect our history. We'll wrap it up there. Lauren, do you want to say anything? Okay.